Hello, everyone. It is Marc Berman from TV Media Insights. It is Tuesday, January 8th. I would like to welcome you back to our daily video cast, and I have a very special guest with me, and you are...
I'm Ann-Louise Bannon from YourFamilyViewer.com.
And you look familiar. You've been here before.
Oh, God, yes.
We sit next to each other, by the way. We're really good friends and colleagues. We sit next to each other the entire press tour.
Yes.
And, you know, we sit at these sessions, and we talk about this, and this is good, this is bad. So let's talk about what's happening. I have to fess up immediately that technically it really is Monday, but because of the time difference, it's kind of a little off whack here. So we're in the second day of NBCUniversal, their cable portion.
Right.
And we've had sessions with USA, Sci-Fi, and Oxygen. So why don't we start with USA?
USA.
And they have a new show.
Right, Graceland coming
Yes,
up.
a new scripted drama.
Yeah, which is one thing USA has always excelled in. One thing about USA that we've talked about is that USA is that lovely little quirky channel that does the wonderful, intense, smart dramas that would fail miserably on network TV.
Yes.
They're great shows, and there are very few shows on USA that I've seen that are really bad. But as you pointed out, when did you point that out? You were talking earlier today about...
We were talking earlier. You're disappointed because they're not filming Graceland in the actual location of...
Southern California. Graceland is a cop show. It's about a safe house for undercover agents.
Yes.
These aren't necessarily cops. They are like federal agents, which is a slightly different jurisdictional thing. And but it was based on a house that was taken over in Manhattan Beach, California, but is now, in fact, Southern California. But they've still got the beach scene. And unfortunately, they're shooting it in Florida.
Not the same feel.
It's not the same thing. The fact that they got a more generic Southern California setting may not be so bad for it, but given what Jeff Easton, who is the producer of Graceland, did, given what he did with White Collar, which is such a wonderful show on so many levels, but
you don't have the real authentic feel.
The least of it. They don't just They don't just shoot in New York. They share New York.
Yes.
It has the New York vibe to it. And given that a Southern California beach town has a very distinct vibe, has a very distinct look.
Yes.
I don't. But again,
I agree with you.
That may or may not be an issue with this show because it is primarily about, DEA agents.
But I'll give you an example of a classic show that I really liked, and I remember it was supposed to be set in New York City, and it was called Cagney and Lacey.
Right.
I remember watching several scenes where I would see Sharon Gless and Tyne Daly strolling through the streets of New York, and I'd see a palm tree. I'm like, this is not Times Square. So yeah, it does bother me a bit.
It does. It can bother you if you don't do it right.
If you don't do it right. But I do want to say, we'll go over to Oxygen, but I want to say that USA began by boasting that it's been number one, the most watched cable network for 7 straight years, which is very true. However, they've canceled 3 shows. Their ratings are down. Let's hope this succeeds.
I do hope it succeeds. I mean, I think it's been that home of little shows that could. And, it's kind of like you see a good show like, what's on the networks now that Scandal or something like that that's not doing as well. It would be great for that kind of situation.
Now, what did you think? We'll go over to Oxygen now. We just came from a session, a new reality competition called The Face. And you just saw her face, and she's not happy. I'm smiling because there were 3 gorgeous supermodels there. So
but they're not even gorgeous. They're wraiths. They're scrawny. They're sticks.
But for me,
they look like they're starving children in Africa.
They look good to me. But listen, I'm not into kind of that whole. I'm not the traditional Oxygen viewer. Aside from watching Tori Spelling, her reality show, I don't watch Oxygen. Do you think this is going to succeed?
Actually, I'm afraid it will. That's what bothers me. It is. I think it's one of those things that does, people talk. We had a show, The Biggest Loser. They had a panel yesterday.
Yes.
And they were talking about how parents are worried about their children developing anorexia and bulimia and these other eating disorders. And those aren't very real and valid concerns.
Yeah.
But I think shows like The Face will stimulate that, but more to the point, what I think it does is it does contribute to childhood obesity, because when young women see these impossibly thin women, and they're either going to develop the eating disorder, less likely, or they're more likely to say, I can't do that. It's
exactly.
impossible.
It's
There's
impossible.
no hope for me.
It's impossible. Yeah.
Heck with it. I'm going to eat.
Right.
And
when you're comparing yourself to somebody who's 5'11" that weighs, basically
2 pounds.
that 95 pounds. But I do want to say, ironically, and I have to laugh because you mentioned the Biggest Loser session. Right before the Biggest Loser session, in our hallway area was a ton of cakes and chocolates, and we're all out there picking out.
Everything they're telling us not to
before
eat.
the biggest. And then they actually had on the side, you could sign up for like a 30-day evaluation on how to lose weight. Yet they're serving all that. So I thought it was a little strange.
Well, it is surreal, but I think but that's kind of the yin yang. I mean, look at how many sugary snacks they advertise on Biggest Loser.
Yes.
The very people who are trying hardest to lose weight, and you got Coca-Cola ads.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't want to bag on Coca-Cola having the right to advertise their product. It's not a bad product, but yes, it is something that should be drunk in moderation.
I agree.
And I still think they can sell a heck of a lot of Coke, even with everybody drinking it in moderation.
I am with you.
And so that's my feeling on these sorts of things, is that, we talk about wanting to fight childhood obesity. We talk about wanting to be sensitive to issues of violence and things like that, which the network executive Robert Greenblatt noted yesterday. But they totally forget that they're also in the business of gaining numbers. And
exactly. Well, speaking of numbers, and then we're going to run to the sci-fi session, I do want to say that the Biggest Loser came back, and it cracked the 3 rating among adults 18 to 49, which is very good. There is still an audience. Jillian is back, and we're going to head over to sci-fi now.
Oh, good.
Now, will you come back while I'm here?
Oh, God, yes.
Well, thank you. Actually, I don't want to go inside. It is really nice out here. It's
cold.
It's not cold.
I'm a California native. It's cold.
Well, thank you for joining me, Anne, and we hope everybody has a great day.
A wonderful day.
A wonderful day. And I'll be back with more news about my favorite medium, television, tomorrow, live from the Winter Press Tour in
lovely Pasadena, California.
Yes. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.